Right now, every time we build our Docker image, we do it manually. That's not how real DevOps works. Today, we are going to automate that process using a CI/CD pipeline with GitHub Action. In the previous project, we built a FastAPI API, containerized it using Docker, and pushed the code to GitHub. But imagine working in a re-engineering team. Every time someone pushes a new code, you wouldn't want engineers manually building Docker image or running command locally. Instead, we automate that entire process using CI/CD pipeline. Now, CI/CD stands for continuous integration, continuous delivery. It allows us to automatically build, test, and package our application whenever code changes. So in this project, we are going to create a GitHub action pipeline that automatically builds our Docker image every time code is pushed to our repository. The workflow will look like this. A developer pushes code to GitHub. GitHub action automatically starts pipeline. The pipeline checks out the repository and builds the Docker image for our FastAPI application. This is the foundation of most modern DevOps pipeline. What we're going to do, let's start by creating a GitHub action workflow that will automate this process. So let's get started. So as you can see my Visual Studio. This is exactly how we left it last time, and you can see my API application and the Docker file and everything, just like we left it before. So I'm going to switch to Bash because it's always good to switch to Bash, especially when you're working with Bash CLI and also when you're working with GitHub. So we are going to create a folder named github/workflow. This folder tells GitHub this repository contains CI/CD pipeline. So let's get started. Okay. So you can see the folder there. So we are going to create a file inside that folder, and we are going to name this file. Let's say we name this file docker-build. Yeah, let's name it that. Now, YML also stands for YAML. So now we have the pipeline file, and I'm going to get my code, and I'll explain to you each line of this code so that you understand what it does. Now, obviously, at work, no one is going to tell you to write your pipeline from scratch. Although you need to know what it does, you need to understand the workflow and how you can actually automate it and what you can do to improve it, especially security wise. And yeah, so on this place you um, can actually see name. So you can literally name this YAML file anything you want. Now there's something you need to understand. The file name is different from the workflow name. Do you understand what I mean? The pipeline name. So you cannot like name both of them anything you want, but it's always good to actually name it to related to what you're actually working. You understand? So on push, so that means every time code is pushed to GitHub, this pipeline runs automatically. Do you understand? So you can see on push branch name. So this pipeline is automatic. So whenever a developer push code to GitHub and from feature branch and merge it to develop, the pipeline will start building as soon as possible. So it doesn't need human intervention. It's fully automated, and it have to be on main branch. So if this code is on develop or on future branch, it's not going to build. So you always watches the main branch. If you want to build it on develop or future branch, then you have to reference the branch name here. So So yeah, now looking at job, this is build. You see runs on Ubuntu latest. Now there's something you need to understand. GitHub spin up a temporary Linux server to run a pipeline. So this pipeline is a workload. You need its own environment, isolated place to actually do the work. Do you understand what I mean? So GitHub provides a temporary VM that you can actually use to build it. So whenever this build is done, the VM is destroyed. You understand? But if you don't want to use the one GitHub provide, you can always provision yours and reference it here. Do you understand what I mean? So yeah, basically this pipeline cannot just run without a VM. So and they use the list VM, which is the Linux VM. So on this place we can actually see where it says action checkout v3. So this downloaded the repository code into the pipeline environment, and you can see Docker build -t fast API dot. This build the Docker container automatically. Now this pipeline, there's something you need to understand this pipeline, because if you're looking at this pipeline, you notice that it only stop at build, meaning that there's no way to store this image. I want to make it more simple and basic so that you understand the flow. Meaning that when Docker actually build this image inside the Linux VM, the image also get destroyed whenever the VM got destroyed. So if you don't want that thing to happen, what you need to do then is that you have to now provide a container register. This is when you started hearing things like private register. You understand? ECR, yes, Elastic Container Register, and ACR, Azure Container Register, or GitHub Action Container Register, or Docker Hub, or anywhere you want to push your private register. So that's it. So the pipeline is, like I said, is basic and simple. So what we're going to do next is that we're going to now add this and commit it to our GitHub, and we'll head straight to this thing. But before we head straight to GitHub, I want to show you something before I commit this. So you notice that nothing is here. This is where the pipeline is going to run. Nothing is here. So as soon as I commit this code and push it to our GitHub, this pipeline will automatically start building, and we're going to see it here. So yeah, let's commit the code. So I'm going to do git add. Let me do git status first. Okay. So we're going to add, let's say, added CI/CD pipeline. Then we push it. It's now pushed to GitHub. So let's go and refresh it. So it's now here. Now, if you come to action, you see that pipelines have already started. You see Docker build. That's what you name it. You see that the pipeline already started building. Let's open it and see how it's building. It's now started building our image. So once it's done with the building the image, it's going to complete, and the job is done, and the Linux VM will be terminated, and that's how it is. So this eliminates manual work, like developers manually rebuilding whenever they work on a application code. Do you understand? So you can see the pipeline just completed, and yeah, everything works perfectly. He set up the job. He did exactly what we told it to do. He checked out our repository. He built the Docker image. You can see the Docker image building, and yeah, and the job is done. So back at this code, whenever a developer come to the application code and work on new updates, new updates. Once they're done, they add it, they commit the message, they push it to GitHub. Then our pipeline basically pick us the new code from here, then it build it and provision it. So, and if you remember the last video, we actually did this manually. So we just automated what we did manually, and now you understand what GitHub Action and CI/CD pipeline actually works and do. So, but if you want me to, obviously this pipeline just finished and the VM got terminated and the image also lost. But if you want me to deploy this image on the cloud, just comment on this video and that could be the next project. And if you haven't seen the other previous video, you should actually go and watch it to see how we build a FastAPI API, how we containerize using Docker, and how we are able to visit the website and it was actually working. So this is just part 2 of that video. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and yeah, see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.